What up, guys? Good evening. The Supreme Court has voted to turn down Roe v. Wade, at least not officially. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. Welcome back. Another Wednesday. Your boy Jason on the mic. Hey, know you guys must have heard this that the Supreme Court, our favorite Supreme Court, has voted to strike down, at least internally, right? It's a memo that was written by Justice Alito, and it's just floating around, and then somebody leaked it on the outside. So Politico get a hold of it, and now it's in the public, and we're in we have different protests that's going on in Washington D.C. and different cities around the country. This is an interesting one for a lot of people. For you guys that are not familiar with Roe v. Wade, we can go back. It's about a 50-year long law that's been in this country. Let me, for a lot of you guys that are not as old as I am or even younger, let's jump back a little bit. Let's jump back and talk about the Supreme Court. This was 1973 when the United States Supreme Court ruled that, under the Constitution, that, we can protect women, that to make their rights. We can protect women that make their rights. So it's an abortion right case. It's like 50 years. It started from back when Norma McCovey, which is the presiding for Jane Roe. You guys have always heard Roe versus Wade. So the lady name was Norma McCovey. She, in 1969, she was pregnant with her third child, and she wanted an abortion. But of course, she lived in Texas. And in that time, Texas was one of those places that you could not do an abortion, right? It was illegal. The only way you could do an abortion if it was to save the mother. And her attorney decided to file a case in U.S. federal court, against her local district attorney at the time, which was Henry Wade. Now, that's how we come up with Jane. That's how we come up with Roe versus Wade. They alleged that Texas abortion law was unconstitutional. And there was a 3-judge panel at the time that they ruled in her favor. Texas appealed the law and sent it to the U.S. Supreme Court. And the U.S. Supreme Court at the time ruled 7-2 in favor of Miss McCorvey. So this whole thing was a due process case, right? They said the U.S. Supreme Court said there's a due process clause of the 14th Amendment, and it's a right to privacy. And then also it gives them, people, and it gives them it. So we understand it's a right to privacy under the 14th Amendment. It was a due process under the 14th Amendment. I'm sorry, guys. And then a right to privacy that protects the woman and give her the ability to choose. Now, we can fast forward 50 years later, and now we're in 2022, and we have a unique court makeup. So we got there's a 6-3 majority on the conservative judges, and this week there is this thing where the memo or the opinion from all the justices that's floating around that's saying, under the case of, this Roe versus Wade, the Supreme Court has voted to strike down this landmark, decision. So Alito has been going after it for a while. I'm pretty sure some of the conservative justices also are, because even if you go back just a few short years ago when they were when the last few justices were put in power, this was one of the first thing that people were concerned with, as far as we thought this was settled law. According to them, we thought it was settled law, but now we come to understand that it's really not settled law. So we're having this thing, it's not just here in the States, it's all over the globe, where, people are just saying that this is the nation, this is the only Western nation right now around the world, out of the 56 that support the abortion law, that allow women, to make the decision, choose about what happened to their own body. A lot of people are voicing their opinion on this one. A lot of people stepped in, they they go back as far as 50 years, when the law was put in place in 1973, and then we came as far as 1992 when the law was attacked then again. And of course, the Supreme Court, hey, Screen Story, how are you, man? Good evening. And at that point in 1992, the Supreme Court upheld, they reaffirmed that this is law of the land, that women have the right to choose, make the decisions about what happened, over their bodies. Now, there are a lot of different opinions on this one. It really is a touching one. I personally don't believe we should have the right to be choosing, to control people's body, right? To make a decision for another person's body, because, like I said, the Father Himself, God Himself, always give you the option to choose. He said, hey, you have to accept your sins. You have to, in front of your Creator, decided, at that point, that you have to answer to all your sins. Everything that you do in this world, you have to be responsible for them. And then the fact that someone now is coming and telling you that, this is what you have to do, or this is what you shouldn't do, especially with your body. Because in a case where there is sexual assault, we have to understand that it is a tough situation where it's you have to be able to give them the opportunity to make this decision, because no one wants to get into a sexual assault situation or incest, and then they're forced to carry that that fetus for a long period of time. So I just think it's one of these cases where so many people are voicing their opinion. It has the whole because the opinion was drafted. It was drafted secretly. Nobody heard of it. I mean, we had an idea that this is what they wanted to do. We were trying to look for what was going to come out of the Supreme Court, where there was a 6-3 majority as far as one, because this law has always been talked about by the conservative. There was always been, oh man, they're fighting this law. We should, this law should be off the book. So it went back and forth. Now, in a case like this, there are 13 states here that has laws in place as far as abortion is concerned. So these 13 states, if this opinion becomes law, where all of these justices, or at least the 6 out of or 5 out of 9, decided that they must strike down the Casey and the Roe versus Wade law, they need to overturn it. If that is overturned, then definitely these 13 states that predates Roe versus Wade 1973 laws, that will automatically just trigger a strike, where it would just you couldn't have an abortion in those states. It wouldn't be immediately. And in some states, it's like 30 days after you wouldn't be able to do it. And other states, the laws are falling in place. Right now, there's a majority of states that, they don't, a lot of their governors don't believe, that abortion should be, a part of their state's rules and regulation. Now, you do have other states, though, one of those, like, for instance, Michigan, and then you also have Wisconsin. Now, these two states, they have governors that are on the Democratic side that believe that abortion should be a choice. They are pro-choice, right? But at the same time, they're living in a state and they're governed in a state that they have pro-life rules and regulation. So these things predates the whole Roe v. Wade, or at least the Casey versus the 1992 ruling that reaffirms the whole Roe versus Wade ruling that's in place right now. So with all of these states, there, we're like in a limbo right now. It's like this up and down thing, going from one place to another. Because, like I said, Michigan, Governor, what's her name, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, she's a supporter of pro-choice, but there are laws on the books in her state that support pro-life. So in this case, where she's like looking at these laws, she is talking, about it. She always spoke about her pro-choice, views and opinions. But at the same time, she doesn't have enough power to change the rules and laws in those states. So maybe, the Senate, the House Senate, or the state Senate, or the state House, have this thing where they'll overpower the governor. So I think it's one of those things right now where she is, her back is against the wall, and now she's hearing that this thing is on the table of the Supreme Court. She knows that if these judges or these justices decided that the law of the land is not to have, Roe versus Wade. It's supposed to be a pro-life land. Then automatically her state, even though she's the governor of that state, is going to just automatically push her back. And we'll be talking about, all of these benefits that they have over the years as far as the abortions are concerned, or at least the pro-choice, to be able to have the choice, to be able to choose, for your own body or for the body of women. But it's the same thing with Tony Evers. He's the governor of Wisconsin, and he also support, so you have a he and a she, and they support. These are pro-choice governors, but at the same time they're in a state where the laws are written against them, so they don't have really much of too many of an option, if you ask me. Right now, this most justices says that the Roe v. Wade was settled law. Especially, I don't know if you guys remember, just a few years ago, back in 2018, when Kavanaugh, Judge Kavanaugh, then Justice Kavanaugh now, when he was put in front of the Senate for his confirmation process, because all of these founding fathers that put this whole Constitution together in 1787 and decided that the president get to choose the nominate someone, but at the same time they have to be confirmed by the state senators, right? So that includes all of the senators, that include all the states. So it gives you this feeling that you're always involved with what's going on in your democracy or your republic, whichever word that you guys want to use for it. So whichever way they chose. So Kavanaugh was there in 2018. Now, if you guys remember the guy that says you want the guy, the beer guy, the guy that talk about I love beer, I want beer, we yes, we drank beer, we still love beer. I don't know if you guys remember that guy, but whichever way, he was there talking, that guy, if you guys remember him. Yeah, so he was there talking about that this is settled law. They asked him about Roe versus Wade, and then he said it was settled law. Also, they did this, Murkowski, from what state is she from again? I think no, not Alaska. She's from Susan Murkowski. I forgot what state she's from, but she was one of the senators that was asking him about Roe versus Wade, and he was quite adamant about that it's settled law. They asked Gorsuch also, and he said it was settled law also. Now, recently, I say recently because it's been 2 years now, when Coney Barrett got into become the associate justice, the last one to be in the court, they asked her the same question, and she said the same thing: Roe versus Wade was settled law. Now, I can't say I'm surprised that this is happening right now. I can't say I'm surprised. This is just, it happened to be one of those things that a lot of people expect, and that's the reason why you see a lot of what's going on right now in Washington, D.C. Hold on, let me put my gonna put my link in the chat, guys, just in case anyone want to be a part of this conversation. Let's see if I can do that. 1 second. Yeah. Paste. Yeah, guys, just in case anyone wants to call in and be a part of this chat. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. So when they asked her, the last associate justice, to be in part of the Supreme Court, she said the same thing, that it was settled law. Who would have believed that right now we would be talking about something like this? And what does this mean anyway? What does this post world, as this, if we're doing the post Roe v. Wade law, what does this mean for women's health? Would be my question for tonight. What exactly would one do if this law is actually struck down? Because right now opinions can change because, of course, all of the protests that's going on right now, all of everything that's happening up and down right now, different countries, different cities, we're having just, we're just having, right, and with all the problems that we have as far as supply constraint, the economy, the inflation, we don't need another problem in this nation right now. So what a time for them to choose to pick something like this up, in a time like this where everyone is not even talking about, they decided that this is the best time where they could hide it under the rug and nobody would realize what's going on. But as it is with a democracy, everything is always out in the open, so you can never hide away from it. Things always going to float out. People are going to always talk about what's happening in our economy, what's happening in our government, because this is the way to keep an eye on your leaders, the people that you choose, the people that you put in power. But I mean, I was reading even some more into the opinion of Justice Alito, And let me see, one second, guys. I was reading a little bit into the opinion of Justice Alito, and I remember, T, good evening. I was, according to Justice Alito, Roe v. Wade is not part of the original Constitution, and this is what he has in his mind for all the years that he's been on the court. So because he's been there so long, and this has always been his belief, it must be a joy for him to have these other three associated justice along with Clarence Thomas on the court to talk, to just put these things together and decide that this might be the best way to go, because he doesn't believe that this is law. He doesn't believe that this is part of the original, Constitution from 1788. Can you imagine? This guy is thinking as far back as 1788. I don't know how. And like I said, I have a lot of the same questions that a lot of people have, including our current president right now. If you allow the U.S. Supreme Court to just jump in and change the rules, and because one guy wrote an opinion, and he said that he doesn't believe it's part of the original United States Constitution. I don't know how can we use that to judge a nation of today. At that time, when the United States Constitution was written in 1788, I am pretty sure we did not have 350 million people either. We did not have 50 states. We had 13 colonies at the time. So we have to keep all these things in mind. We have to remember that even though he's thinking that far back, we have to remember that a lot has changed over the years. And if that's the case, like our current president is saying, if you allow them to change something like this on the law books, what does that mean going forward as far as other laws that are in place that they might want to change, like your right to marry who you want to marry? Remember, that is a law that just was put in place back in 2015. So if we go back and think about it, it's not a long time ago. Hey, T, good evening. How are you?
Hey, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing
Good,
well.
thank
Good
you.
evening.
Yes. And this seems to just be a common theme with I guess when it comes to the Republicans, because if you're going after abortion now, what's next?
They might be going after privacy next, because, well, this is part of the privacy of the 14th Amendment anyway. So they're going a part of this, and they might be going after marriage rights next, saying, hey, they will not stop. Remember that back in 1788 when all this the Constitution was put together, minority black people were still slaves. So I don't understand where Justice Alito is coming from with his comment as far as why he wants to remove Roe versus Wade from or Roe and Casey from the books.
And a lot of them, well, I can't say a lot, but I find it funny that as soon as a scandal breaks out about one of their mistresses pregnant, all of a sudden, it's an abortion. I believe, I don't remember how many years ago it was that one came out, the one the Republicans, the same issue they were standing on. And when it turns out that their mistress had a pregnancy scare, all of a sudden they're pushing for abortion.
Very true.
But
Very true.
yet for the rest of the world, and we all know that these laws don't they apply to everyone else but them.
I get it. I get it, because remember, they were just asked, some of those Republicans were just asked, notably, who was it? Ted Cruz from over in Texas. And he wasn't concerned so much with the fact that they were going to put this law in place, the Roe v. Wade. I don't know. That guy wasn't even, he was hardly old enough when that law was put in place. But when he was asked, he wasn't concerned with the law and how it will affect human being and their rights in this nation. The only thing he was concerned with is just who released the document. Why was the document released? There should be an investigation and people should go to jail. That's the only thing he was concerned about.
It's unfortunate because you have some of them that claim to stand on this moral compass, but if you dig deep enough, you realize that there's been so many compromises um, far outside of where they should be compromising, you know, and I think that goes to both parties, regardless of Democrat, Republican, but it's just this world is going into a different direction. There's so many things that we're falling behind as a country in so many areas, and instead of collectively working together to find out how you can push this nation forward to actually make it greater, instead we kind of continuously revisit the past and try to turn around and, okay, let's undo what we did before instead of pushing forward. I mean, at this, we all have sins, right? So we're going to
Definitely.
tell a woman how what they can and cannot do with their bodies. Um, but oftentimes when these scandals come out, you hear how deep they're involved with trying to cover it up, and the very thing that they stand on out front they're against. When you dig deep enough, you find out, well, wait, this was happening behind closed doors. So it's it's disturbing to say the least.
It is very much so. It's very much so because when I hear Mitch McCullen, he is the same thing. He's wondering he the same thing he's saying, lawless act. He's not talking about why, but then again, he was one of the architect of why these three justices, are in the on the Supreme Court bench. Anyways, right? He had an idea what was going to happen, so this is not a surprise to McCollum himself. I mean, I hear the vice president. She jumped out yesterday and she said, how could they, or how dare, how dare they, I think it was her quote. Don't quote me on that one, but yeah, I think she said, how dare they, but I heard the president, he was asked just before he jumped on Air Force One, and as he was saying, basics, right? Don't just think about what's happening right now in the Supreme Court as just being that small thing. It looks small now, but you have to think about contraception. You
Contraceptive.
have,
Yep.
yeah, you have to think about marriage. Yeah, there's other benefits that we're not even looking at. That's trying inside the law, that written inside the books, that we're not even seeing right now. And when that time come and they tell you, hey, the rules are changing, we're changing this, and you're wondering how is it that the rules are changing, what's changing. And this is what happened: the leaders that you put in place, and they make decisions for you. And here we go, and they can do no wrong. They can do no wrong. Those conservative justices, they can do no wrong, because I don't know, after they go on the stand and tell people that they agree, it's settled law, and then they come out and do something completely different from what it is. But I think Justice Alito, he was just waiting just for that moment, that precise moment. He who knows how long he drafted that piece already, and he was just waiting just to have this thing roll out. Now he put the Chief Justice at odds, because he has to be answering all the questions. Why is this going on?
Yeah, it's not by accident. A lot of this is just timing,
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I
because
realize it.
what they're pushing in the media, it's not it's not what's going on behind closed doors, and it's only often until documents are leaked, or yeah, and often in the papers you read about, that's when you realize there's more to it. What you're telling your constituents is really not what's going on. I mean, take for instance the crap that's going on in Florida right now with DeSantis, and just because I'm in Florida, so if you go even back to the unemployment during the pandemic, when they were questioning him, one of the news team, he just got so defensive and just answering basic questions that people are asking about. Oh, I don't know about this and I don't know about that. And I'm just, you're here to take all the emotion out of it. You're here to serve your constituents. It's just
Yeah, I don't
the
know.
crap
I
that they
don't.
are able to do and display. I think if the opposing side were to grow a spine and really um defend their constituent, you would.
I wonder, the the Democratic Party. It was the founding. They've been around for a long time, right? It's the party of Jeffersons, they claim to be, right? It was the Democrat Republican Party, or the Republican Democrat, whichever way they put it. But it was the original, one of the original party, right? The Republican Party is, as most people, I'm not sure if most people know, but founded back in like 18, I think 35 or something like that. So it is a newer party of the two. I'm just wondering though, when you look at it, I wonder if the founding fathers would be proud of where the way the system has gone, because you do have. I feel like the Democrats, or they're losing touch sometime with what's going on, or maybe the Republicans are just more brazen than anything else. Tell me something, to you. How do you think a post era, role would affect women rights going forward, or women health in that sense?
I mean, I can't even imagine so many scenarios that because sometimes, oftentimes, people, depending on where you are in your life, you may not think it affects you until there's a situation with, a niece, a nephew, and on, hell, your child, you know. There's so many different circumstances where your life could be threatened, or the person maybe not be in the space to. I mean, I don't agree when it comes to abortion. I'm pro-life. I don't agree with people who use it as a form of contraceptive, but at the same time, there are real issues around why a person chooses to terminate a pregnancy. And it, with all states having variations of this law, some are not even acknowledging the fact that it could be life threatening. Certain things are just completely left out. Um, that is that's crazy. I feel like it's you go setting yourself back 50 years.
Yeah, I'm looking at
And
this.
I guarantee you it is not going to be um all of these it's amazing how they will all bond together, even if despite whatever the situation is, until a
Mhm.
situation reaches their front door with one of their family members, then they wield their power to
No, of course, these
dictate.
guys are united. The conservatives are united, no doubt about it. They're not separated in any way. They are united all the way to the front. Look at what JJ is saying in the comment. She says you'll see a reduction in the availability of contraceptive. Might be quite possible. Might be quite possible
People
because
are
of
going to you're going to hear situations rises where whether it be teenage pregnancies, people dying because of finding ways to terminate a pregnancy, because you when a person, nothing like how do they say it, you don't miss the well until that water runs dry. So when
course.
certain things are not available anymore, then you see people becoming very creative into figuring out how the hell or how am I gonna find a solution to this situation. I You have these old men that have no idea and still have a very prehistoric way of thinking. And I
Definitely.
think if they would spend more time focusing on how to really push this country forward, how to educate the nation. I mean, where are we in education again? It's a
Huh.
joke.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
It's an
behind in
absolute.
education compared to the rest of the
It's a
world.
joke. And what you're worrying about is contraceptive. This is what you're standing on in 21st century that we're in. You have all of these things that you should be worrying about educating the next generation on. Cryptocurrency, all of these things. More and more now you hear people talking about what is it, financial literacy, all of these
Yeah.
things that you should be helping to push the nation forward. But instead you decide to turn the clock back 50 years worrying about, nope, we
Yeah,
understand it's your body, but we're going to dictate and tell you.
exactly. Well, you see how they want to do it, right? It started from the control. It's always been control. They've always want to control something. When it was back then, 1788, they were controlling slaves, and then they start losing power of the male. Then they start controlling women. Women could not vote until like the 1920s, right? Then after they start losing power, then they start to go into like, okay, the next thing is abortion rights. We'll control what a woman can do with their body, even though it's your body, right? You have to go to the menstrual process each month. You have to take care of that body, but at the same time, we're controlling that body. We'll make rules and laws for that body that you have, even though it has nothing to do with our body. I,
Could
I
it
never, I never, I never get it. I don't understand that quite well. I never
could
understood it.
could it be that it's more so power? These are the views that we stand on. So obviously nothing has changed and we're going to stand on them, but in reality it's just more so about power, about
Um,
holding on to, do you even really give a damn?
well, I don't know if they do or not because what? They're not too far from, but maybe they're thinking about the next generation. Because remember, we're in right now 200 what 47 years, I think, or something like that. 46, 47 years this nation has been around, right after the fought to get some the freedom. But when you think about it, there has been generations after generation. So this generation, or the generation you see right now, that's making the rules and regulation as far as what women should do with their bodies and how they should do it, and they're trying to get rid of this Roe versus Wade thing. Remember, they are training their next generation of themselves. So for the next 100 years, they're going to be people that's coming out of the womb that's thinking exactly like them, and they'll make sure that doesn't die. So the power struggle is real, and it will still be there for the next few years, or the next few 100 years. Who knows?
Oh,
Look at what JJ is saying. She said, you also probably see less women in the workforce over time. Well, for a while there were no women in the workforce. There was not a lot of women because women was supposed to stay home, right? That was the idea: stay home, have kids, nurture the children, take care of the home, and men go out and do all of the other stuff, right? And then, as you can see, as we get into the late 18th and early 20th century, then things start to change, start to shift, where now women want to be a part of the workforce. They can do a lot more things. They can work. They can clean, and at the same time, they can still do if not everything that men can do. Apart from insemination. But yeah, you get the idea. So that is the idea. But I still don't know though. What are your thoughts? Because we understand women should have. Me personally, I think women should have the choice. They should have the choice over their body. But should abortion be legal, illegal? Because it's split among the 50 states. There are more states that says abortion should be illegal than the ones that said it should not be.
well, I am pro-choice. I don't believe that it should be illegal. Um, from a religious standpoint, I mean, listen, we sin every day. It's only man that decides to give weight to us to sins, right? And to say, okay, this one is greater than this one is greater than. But I really think it's just about control. I think it's just another method, another form of control. And these types of laws affects who mostly?
Minority. Most of these laws
Uh,
affect minority person.
absolutely, absolutely.
I
So and then it goes back to control.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you. Me personally, I sit down and I think about it. I say, why is this choice of whether to carry or not to carry a child, right? No matter what the reason is, be left up to someone other than that person that's bearing that responsibility and carrying that child. I still don't get the idea of how they decide. I can't say it's a control thing. I get it, but what's causing this lady that's on the Supreme Court right now, the Justice Amy Coney Barrett, she's siding with them, with all the other dudes that are on there that's saying, hey, Roe versus Wade should not be a law of the land. It should be removed, should be strike down. This is their plan. Their plan is to strike down that law. They don't want it to be a part of the land, and it's been a part of the land for so many years already. Miss Kennedy, Ken, good evening. Miss Ken Kennedy, good evening. How are you? Yeah, so it's been a part of the plan. But is there anyone in the chat that's against this or for this law? I mean, who out there is actually thinking that this is the way it should be? I mean, this law has survived, 1973, after, McCorvey, come all the way up to now. That's why, it's called Roe versus Wade. And then it survived in 1992 when President Clinton was in power. So it has survived for a few years. I mean, right now we're looking at what, 30 years later, and it seems like it's going to be attacked. I definitely feel like this is the last stand for this law. I don't think they're going to do anything. Doesn't matter what. They're going to amp up the security for all of the Supreme Court justices. They're going to put the law in place. They're going to stamp it, and you're going to just have to live with it. These guys are going to be in power at least for another 30 years. At least for another 30 years. They're not going anywhere anytime soon.
I think
What
they need
role?
new. I think they need new blood. I
Yeah,
guess,
but what role?
but
What
the
role do you think moral and religious belief play?
hmm, I guess I can argue both sides, but I realized honestly, after January 6th and what went on, and they collectively stood there and tried to defend what went on. Um, I don't believe they have either.
You don't believe they have either.
I don't believe that they have any morals. And as
Okay.
far as religion is concerned, you those who if we could just take party out of it, I mean, you were complete. Your silence is complicit.
I agree. I agree. But you do have a few people that are out there talking about it. Like Joe Manchin said, the people of West Virginia is not worried about what's going on as far as the Supreme Court is concerned and Roe versus Wade. Right? He said this: the people of West Virginia are not the least concerned about that. They're more concerned about inflation and everything else that's going on in their everyday life. Most of these people won't be concerned with it unless it affects them personally. You see what I'm saying?
Sorry, I touched him. But isn't that how it is a lot of times? It's not their reality until it reaches their front door.
It's always like that. It is always like that. Most of the time, it's like, well, yeah, it's always like that because when you
Even
think
with
about,
I think it was I don't remember at the time or how far back it was, and I can't remember the congressman's name, but he was against, gay rights and everything and he stood firm on his moral religious beliefs until his son came out to him. Then he changed his position.
mm, I do remember that. That's when, yeah, I do remember that. But that's most of how it works, right? It always goes in a way like that, where it's just that these people, they believe in what they believe in. They're part of what it is that they want to be a part of. They they feel like they're untouchable until they're touched, right? That's most of how it works. I'll give you a story here real fast, right? um I watched a program on television called The Blacklist, and for those of you guys that are not familiar with it, right, it is a series where it's been going on now for 8 seasons. So normally anything you get over 4 or 5 seasons are pretty successful. And I remember there was a thing in there regarding this whole abortion, right? Abortion law. So there was this there was a young nurse at the time, or a young student in college, and she was on her way to med school, right? So she was going to finish college. I think let me mute your mic for a second. I'm hearing myself repeating. Hey, Granny Linda, good evening. How are you? Yeah. So yeah, I was saying. So this nurse, it was a young nurse that's in school, and she was a young student. She was not a nurse yet. She was a young student, and she's in college. She's working her way on to becoming a nurse. Of course, during that time, during her educational process to becoming a nurse, she was sexually assaulted on campus. Now, when that happened, she was living in a state where abortion is illegal at the time, right? Just like Texas back in 1973. That's what's caused this whole Roe versus Wade thing that's going on right now. And what happened with that former student that became a nurse? She ended up having to have the child. Now every day she look at the child. There's mixed feelings, right? Because it was a sexual assault that created this child, but at the same time you love this child because it's of no fault of her own. Now, nevertheless, this nurse became a doctor. And with technology that has changed and things that have done differently over the years, she was able to become a surgeon, raising her one daughter. She never went back to have any more kids. Now, at the same time, the rules are still the same, where abortion rights are the same, and it is the way it is, that you can't have abortion in that state where she was living. So what she did after she made her money and became successful, she decided to start kidnapping men, like powerful men that were writing these laws for those states, as far as the abortion is concerned. And to make this long story short, because like I said, it is a crazy part of what I was watching in this series, that she kidnapped the governor, right? The governor of that state in this series, The Blacklist. And when she did that, she was able to, along with the technology, she was able to do a surgery. And remember, she's a surgeon now, and she had 5, 6 different people. She had a whole team that believed in, pro-choice. You have the choice to make the decision for your body, not someone else doing it. And what she did was she did a surgery and inserted a fetus inside this male governor. And of course, she put him away inside a storage facility for 15 weeks. After the 15 weeks process, so the governor was missing for a while. Nobody could find him, and of course, everyone is looking for the governor, can't find the governor. After 15 weeks, he wake up and he made some phone call because there's a phone right beside him, and of course he got some contraceptive at the same time. Well, the moral of the story is that when he go back home and they're wondering what happened to him, his wife is asking him what happened. He doesn't know. They find out that he has a big stitch on his side, and around the bottom of his abdomen. When they went and take him in, he did a private X-ray and everything. They start to realize that he has a beaten fetus inside of him as a male. So this is what she was doing. She's paying them back for what happened to her years ago when she was in college. So now he has a beaten fetus. So he went to his local practitioner, a local nurse that he know because he's a governor, and he said, "Hey, how can I remove this fetus from me?" And she looked at him and said, "I can't. Not in this state. It's illegal. Remember, you're the one that signed the bill and signed this rule, signed this law in place. Remember, the Congress or the state and the House legislator, they voted on it, and you signed it into place. So we can't remove it from you. You actually have to have this child." And he's like, "No, no, 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 no. I'm going to go to New York," because at that time New York was it was legal to have abortion in New York. And of course, he went to New York, and New York told him the same thing. If you have an abortion here in New York State, and Texas find out, or whichever state he was from at the time, you will go to jail because you cannot have an abortion being a resident of that state. So this was a payback from this surgeon, that was, violated back when she was in college and and ended up forced to have a child. And this is what I was watching on this series. So it's almost like I am watching, it's like art imitated life. So you're watching these things on the screen and they're coming to life right in front of you. You know what I'm saying? The only thing we're missing right now is men actually having that fetus inside of them. At least not yet. What are your thoughts?
And people may listen to that and say, well, man, that's not real, that is fictitious, or that's just a made up story. But oh God, maybe 40 years ago, if people told you you'd be able to walk around with a cell phone mobile or even a device, so much to them, uh, it would sound far fetched. But fast forward now to today, it is a reality. So maybe a scenario wouldn't play out like that, whereas the male would be pregnant. But let's say you have someone just that methodical that decides that, okay, they're going to seduce the governor or, congressman, somebody who was involved in constructing this bill, go out of their way to get pregnant. How many times have we heard these stories before? And something similar like that becomes a reality. Then what?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was crazy because as I see this going on right now and how these things are happening, it just brought me back to when I watched this movie. And this was or this series, and we're talking about easily 3 years now, right? 3 4 years that thing was put in place, that that series was made. So like I said, it's almost like art imitating life. So you're watching these things on screen. So remember, when you watch some
Uh,
stuff on screen, don't think it's all that far fetched. It's for things to come. What did Einstein say? He said something about a purview. What he said, imagination is the purview of what's to come, right? That's what it is, right?
Oftentimes, and I hate to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but the reality is, if we think about a lot of sci-fi movies that we've watched as children, um, a lot of that thing we're living it, but it just happens so subtle in such slow processes. We don't realize until when we're in it. Now we're talking about the metaverse and all of these things. So, um, how far away is that? I remember being in high school, um, 20 years ago, and my history teacher was like, listen, um, at that time, he said to me, 20 years ago, they had satellites in space that were able to look down and count the pores in your face. Imagine what we have now. I say all of that to say this. As you tell that story of a scene from a movie, how far away from that are we, considering we can um, grow the human ear. There's so many things that we can do technologically. We're so advanced, and what people a lot of people may not realize is that the things that is presented to the public, they may think, oh my God, this is new technology. These are things that are going on behind the scenes years before we even find out. I was actually reading an article where they have what they call, I think it's called a black box project in the works, where they can actually, based on sounds and electrical impulses and all types of other things that they're pulling information from, with a blank wall, determine how many people are in that room and basically give you, damn near give you a visual
Mm-hmm.
of what those people look like, or even if you're typing on a computer based on the keystrokes and the sounds and everything, and the room and all of that determine what you were actually typing on your computer. And this sounds so sci-fi until one day you wake up and
And we're here, and the reality, we're part of this
exactly,
reality. Hey guys, for you
absolutely.
guys that's checking in, that's in the chat, please let me know what are your thoughts. What a post world after Roe v. Wade, because I don't know if you guys realize what was going on. There's a lot of riot going, well, not riot, but a lot of protests going on the Supreme Court steps, in St. Louis and everywhere, all of these big cities around the country, about what's going on in Washington D.C. and what these Supreme Court justices plan to do as far as changing the rules as we know it. This 50 plus year landmark rule, Roe versus Wade. So if you guys are just joining, please drop in the chat. Let me know what you think. What are your thoughts on it? Or call me, man. I got my thing in the chat. You guys can call me and click on the link and call me if you wish to. But like I said, you can put your thoughts in the comments. I'd like to know what you guys think, because I'm here trying to figure this out with T, like exactly what is the next plan, like where does the world go from here? Because we're worrying about controlling woman body, but at the same time there's so many other things that are going on in the world that need fixing, and we're not even focused on that. We're focusing on just this one thing. We're focusing on that, and we've been doing this thing for what, how many years now? We haven't stopped. It's always been this consistent fight over woman body, or controlling, trying to control woman body. So
But
let me know,
what
guys,
if
in the
these
chat.
are the things? What are? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, no, I was just gonna say, well, what is it? What if this is just a distraction, though, to the inner workings
Distraction
of
to
what?
what could be worse than this? What's the next big plan that we're not seeing? Because this is
But
pretty big
but we say that until
until it reveals itself, right? Shows that it's not.
absolutely,
Okay, okay.
because how many years have they been at this?
They have been it for a few years. The last time we had something big like this was 1992 when Bill Clinton was in power, and that's when they struck down. I think there was a Casey versus Planned Parenthood. That was the last big one, and they reaffirmed that Roe versus Wade was actually the law of the land, and that's what they were going to support. But I mean, if they're doing this, what
If
is the plan? You have to
if
wonder. The question is,
and,
what
and
is the
honest
plan?
and honestly, if they're able to overturn this, right? There's a lot more things that are in jeopardy. A lot more things to come. Um, there's so many laws that are out there that we don't realize on a day-to-day how it affects us until again, one day it's your reality, this
Very true. And it could be something as easy as freedom, right? It could be something as easy as freedom. It could be something as easy as marriage rights, your right to choose who you want to who you want to be married to. It could be something as easy as healthcare. Remember, healthcare was a part of the whole law back in 2015, and they've been fighting that also to get rid of it. And a lot of people don't even realize, even the people that were fighting healthcare don't even realize how important it was until they end up on the chopping table and they realize, I guess what, you're going to be in debt the rest of your life if it wasn't for healthcare.gov or whatever it is that created back in 2015. So
and what's crazy is that people hear this and again, to me, this opens the door for so much more. If you think back to, oh God, maybe even 100 years ago, crazy laws that they had on the books. I think one was in California once where you can't stop children from playing in the puddle and during the rain, just something crazy. But when you hear stuff like that, it just sounds ridiculous. But imagine that people that we elected sat down and constructed this law. So if this happens, same-sex marriage, all of these things are, regardless of how you feel about it, and a floodgate of other things to me is just, it's just the beginning.
Remember, I'm looking at what Nati's CG is writing here. She says, overturning Roe versus Wade would also give them the green flag to overturn other cases that were ruled using the 14th Amendment, like Brown versus Board, right? So remember that was the educational Brown versus Board, and then
Absolutely.
Gideon and Wade, right? So I mean, you do have a point there, Nati CG. So this is just like T saying, it is the chopping blocks. They're just slowly chopping away at some of the thing. Um, T, hold on for me 1 second, please. Let me bring Nika in and get a quick opinion from her. Nika, unmute yourself. Drop your comment, please. Let me know what you think. Good evening.
Hey, good evening. Good evening,
Good
everybody.
evening. Good evening.
How's everybody doing?
We're doing well over here. We're doing well over here. We're concerned with the
Well,
um
thank you.
the faith of the faith of our nation, but we're here.
Yeah, man. I don't know. If you follow me or if you know me, like you would know like how I feel about all that. Because I am pro choice. Like I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't understand what the obsession is. Like at this point it's like an obsession because like you said, there's so many other things in this country that needs to be addressed, and it's like y'all doing everything but dealing with like blacks getting killed in America. Let's talk about that. Like what is the obsession with women's bodies? I just don't understand.
But I don't know if it's just woman body. There's an obsession with control. It's been like
Right.
this from going way back, and I just feel like T saying, they're hiding under the rug with this one. You see what Nati CG is saying over here, talking about the Board versus Brown education, right? Here in Virginia, just a few short years ago, they were talking about keeping all the Latinos students in one school and then all the white ones in another school and then try to separate it. I mean, that would be a violation of the law under the Brown versus Board education of 1954. So when you think about that part of the control, they try to do small thing like T's saying. They're just chopping at the blocks with just small hits of the hammer, just hoping to get to this thing. So like she's saying, maybe this is who knows, just for us to the attention to be just the attention to the shift over here to saying the
So,
human body or the woman body or the attention to woman body or the, like you said, yes, what is it, the obsession with
so
woman body.
and another thing is, so if we're concerned about life, right? Life. And some believe life begins at conception. Yet in
Mhm.
2020, we watched a man get murdered on television with a knee to his neck. I believe, regardless of your party, all of them should have been angered and outraged at it,
Mhm.
and have that same energy. If you're for life, right, then you should
Okay.
have that same energy that you have when
Towards
we
all
all.
life.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Where
Okay.
was that energy? Regardless of party, where was that energy? Because this is a life. Since you are concerned about life and it is wrong, um, your religious and your moral compass, where was that energy?
Yeah. Nika,
It didn't
what do you
matter about
think
his
about?
background or what or any of that. This, where was due process? Where was any of that? And yet, though we repeatedly see the disregard for life, and I hate to take it there, but then if we're talking about life, then
Then all life
and
should be equal, right? You should protect
and
all
it-
life, is what you're
we don't
saying.
want to go down that road, but then this is the reality because the concern is about life itself, right?
Of course. Of
So
course.
if we're concerned about life, when we watch this happen, why do these things repeatedly happen? But you are concerned about the conception of life, and then that fetus, has a long way to go before. There's so many things that can happen in between conception and the possibility of birth. So if you are concerned is at that time, well, why is life that is already here, why is that same energy, all party lines, regardless of whether you are Republican, Independent, whatever it may be. Where is that same energy?
Hmm. Well, that's the $1 million question, and that's why maybe you're right. Maybe you're onto something here, that this is just to shift the attention, of something bigger, something yet to come. Nika, quick question for you. What about the sexual assault cases? And talk about these. You have a lot of these guys that are in Congress, and these rules don't work for them until they're in a situation where they have a mistress or something like that pops up pregnant or whatever the case is, and then they don't like the law anymore, the same law that they voted to put in place. What are your thoughts?
I feel like it does come back to bite them sometimes because they're nasty and I feel like that's what they do. But I feel like they have the resources. Like, I don't know if anybody ever watched Scandal, like I believe like that's exactly how it is. So they have the money and the resources to, just sweep it under the rug. So I feel like, yeah, it will come back to bite them, but I feel like they also have, just like I said, the money and the resources to just kind of, pay them off or whatever, where it doesn't even get out there.
I was just telling everyone a while ago regarding the Blacklist, a movie, a show that I normally watch, and I'm seeing this thing play out. Exactly how it happened. This whole abortion thing. It's almost like the Blacklist, and that episode was just preparing us for what's happening today, as far as what Justice Alito plan is for this nation going forward. Because I mean, you heard him; he's very clear about what he think about this whole Roe versus Wade rules and laws. But I mean, it's only a matter of time before he start to chip the blocks with all the other one. They still have another 30 years to go, Nika or T. What do you think? I mean, 30 more years to go. Can you imagine the damage they can cause?
Yeah, it's gonna be bad, man. Oh Lord, I don't even want to witness it, honestly.
If you look back just a little bit further in history, right? Back, as far as even Lincoln is concerned, right? Remember Lincoln freed the slave, right? Remember he decided that um, it was not beneficial for people to be enslaved. If they were working, they could contribute more to the economy, right? That was one of the reasons behind. But at the same time, the slavery was abolished by Lincoln himself, right? He gets all the credit for it. So you guys realize that after Lincoln was assassinated, a few years later, right? I don't quote me exactly on the few years, but when the new Supreme Court were in power, they decided that Lincoln had no idea what he was doing after he abolished slavery. That's how we end up having Jim Crow law. That's why Jim Crow law went on for another 150 years. That's the reason why. The only reason why there were slavery was done was because of the civil rights movement of 1963. Most people don't even wonder. Most people don't even sit down and think back and wonder why was slavery abolished in 1865 and why it take like another 100 years before it was actually removed, where people could actually go to school, and you didn't have all these segregated school and people can actually go to different places. But maybe T has a point here that this is one of the things that these people are looking at. They're just starting with this one because it being the biggest one, and they always spoke about it over the last few years.
If I'm not mistaken, too, with Lincoln, I believe that economically it made sense um to to free them. And
You see what he got for that, right? If you guys ever picked up all of these coins, right? All of the coins, whether the one that Lincoln is on, which is the penny, right, is the least value out of all the United States coins, right? So if you guys ever picked up a penny and you go ahead and picked up a dime and picked up a nickel, a quarter, that Washington is on, and even and you put them all together, you'll realize that Lincoln head is turned the opposite direction and he's on a brown penny. It's stated that he turned his back on his comrade as far as abolishing slavery, and then he's looking the opposite direction. So as you can see, there's a method to the madness. They even put on the money that we spend every day, and people don't even realize that.
subliminal shot, or it's
Say that one more time.
a form of disrespect.
Yeah, it's a form of disrespect. But when you put it on the money in a case like that, and people never study or understand the money that's in their hand. For all of you guys that's in the chat, man, do that. When you get a chance, pick up your quarters, pick up your dimes, pick up your nickels, and then pick up the penny, and then put them on the floor and look at them, and you're gonna realize that Lincoln is looking the opposite direction. He's actually on a brown penny that worth the least out of all the denominations of coins. So yeah, it's all written, it's all there. We don't know what does this mean as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, but people are upset. People don't like this idea. People don't like what's going on. People believe that women should have the right to choose. I personally believe women should have the right to choose, because who are we? Why are we playing God? Explain that to me. Why are we playing God? You know, and I still don't get that part. You know, and that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. What are we playing God? What are your opinion, guys? Come on, drop your opinion in the chat. Let me know what you think. This is the beginning of a major backlash. JJ is saying, against progressives. They flew too close to the sun. That's funny. You heard that? What are your thoughts? Major backlash against progressive. What are your thoughts? Nika, you there? T?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that? You think it's a major backlash against the progressive? That's what JJ is saying. She said
Yeah.
they flew too close to the sun.
Yes, yes.
I mean, that's funny
At
when
this
you
point,
think
they
about
need to
it.
hurry up. At this point, they need to hurry up and do what they doing, trying to get to Mars and just leave, and just just go.
Oh man.
Cause they doing
No.
too much. They doing too much.
You said they're doing too much, huh?
Yeah, like leave us alone. Like oh God, oh my God. Like just imagine like a little girl, like even in our like most of our families have like that trauma of, rape and incest and stuff. Like a lot of people don't know it, but I bet if you ask like your parents and your grandparents and about stuff like that, you'll realize it happens so much. Especially back in the day to our family. We carry a lot of like generational curses that deal
Yeah,
around rape and incest and things like that, and we don't even know it.
that's
So,
true. That's true.
and just the fact that like if abortions and if they had that right back then, like how much, I don't know, just how much trauma and things that they probably wouldn't have this day. Like there's people in my family specifically, like older generation that are still dealing with like things like that from their childhood, and it's so sad to see and witness.
Yeah, yeah. That's it's
And,
truly is. It truly is.
and that
Go
is
ahead.
one of the things too, even with how some of these states are that are jumping on board now with the abortion laws don't even address incest or rape.
Hmm.
I years ago I worked at a facility. Oh God, I was probably one of my first jobs where it's similar to a group home, and a client got pregnant by staff. Um,
Wow.
yes, he was charged and I believe sent to prison. The family actually decided to um,
Keep the
keep the
child.
child. Yes,
Okay.
simply because their daughter was developmentally disabled. However, her body was, still able to carry the child, and they decided that they were going to keep it because that was the only child, and that was going to only be the option of ever having a grandchild. Um, so in situations like that, it just depends on the individual themselves. In the era that we're in, where people are talking about mental health now more than ever before, and have, the language to put to it, you have to wonder, what does that death toll look like now amongst women, or young girls who are pregnant now. And I believe in even some states, they can, without an adult, be able to terminate a pregnancy. What happens depending on the family, depending on the circumstances surrounding that pregnancy? Um, what happens with that individual?
Huh. Like you said, in some states, and this will probably go on for another week
And,
or
and I
two.
do, and I hear some people, some lawmakers, oh, I got pregnant when I was young, and it didn't ruin my life, and that's your circumstances. What about
Yeah.
people who are, inner city minorities who don't have an out, are already struggling now, and then um, Where are those voices? I don't want to
There is
see the one person that came out as a, that you made it, and I don't want to give me people from all backgrounds now to hear their story, and um
now.
then
Do you
we then we can actually have an honest conversation. You understand what I'm saying? It
No, I
just
get what you're saying. Hey, T, do you realize that Alpha Omega Patriot, she he's saying that pro life all the way. I guess it's pro life. Don't murder those souls. Can you respond to that? What would be your thought on that? Because that's what this person is saying. I just put up on the screen right there.
I can respond.
Go ahead, drop it, Nika.
Mhm.
I would say if keep that same energy, because you're saying, oh, don't murder souls. Oh, you care so much about a woman's body. It's scientifically proven, um, like how babies develop and things like that. And I mean, yes, a soul is a soul. I do believe in that. But keep that same energy. There's people of color getting killed by police in this country every single day. What? How do you feel about that? What's your take
They're
on that?
saying change my life.
I
They're
I
saying
I I I agree with Nick 100%. Again, so then
What's your take on that? There's Mexican children in camps separated from their parents. How do you feel about that?
he's saying he raised three daughters. That's what he's saying. He raised three daughters. But you got to understand, man, you got to give women the right to choose, because it's kind of hard when you're trying to take away. It's almost like someone taking away your right to do anything,
Right. No
so,
question.
not necessarily having a child or whatever the case is.
during the time of the previous presidents.
They said stop with the, he said stop with the color. It's not
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
color. I mean,
No,
it's not about
okay,
color.
We
but what
can't.
about, so
There's no way.
what went on in Texas when they sterilized all those women, and that they don't put that out?
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. They did do that a few years ago. Where they sterilized all of those women. They had no idea what kind of medical care they were getting. They thought they were getting medical care, and then they found out that they were being sterilized. So they can't have children. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. That was wow. How fast time of flew, and we just forget about it.
But see, and if we don't remember the past, we're condemned to repeat it. It's hard to, you don't want to go down that rabbit hole about, race and this, but unfortunately, this is the reality we live in, and you can't talk about, one part of it without looking at the whole. This is the reality we live in, and let's be honest that a lot of these things that are put in place affects minorities,
According
you
to
know.
what he's saying, Alpha is saying that because they have long hair, like what said, I was beat up. You guys see it in the chat. I was beat up for being me. I have long hair, tattoo. My mom is black. Seriously, uh,
Well, congratulations. You live to tell the tale. There's so many people that have not.
no, that's very true. That is very true because just recently we have many of those situations. So you ain't kidding. My best friend is black from the West Indies. Which part of the West Indies? Tell me. There's a few islands in the West Indies. Tell me which one is your best friend from?
I think it's just a troll, Jason.
Could it be? Uh not in the case. Could it be? Mm?
I think so. I mean, we could still play along. I don't care. But yeah.
Mm. But man, it's what I mean. It's what it is. I mean, people, we're not going to always get 100% agreement on all of the ideas, right? Because
you
if you look
you
at,
aren't you aren't but then people
hey,
have to
Nikki, you
realize
said I'm not a troll.
no,
Responding to you, Nikki. I'm sorry, T.
no, you're fine.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't even. We're not gonna let that take up the airtime. So,
Okay, go ahead, T. Drop
yeah,
it.
you
Let me
hear
hear what you
you
got.
hear
yeah.
about so many women, and I think even with my mother, that they talk about postpartum. I have one child, so but I've never been through that. But if you talk about some women, like I've had people that I've known who have talked about what they've gone through. So who is anyone to tell a person what to do with their body?
That's the only thing we're saying right now. A lot of us are saying that, hey, how is it that we're choosing to tell someone what to do with their body? I'm pretty sure you wouldn't
And if
like
you
someone to
can't
walk up into
produce
your house.
life, you shouldn't be. How are you to tell someone what they should and should not do?
Yeah, because you wouldn't like somebody walk up in your house and say, "Guess what? Give me that, give me this, pass me this, move out." It's the same. It's the same way as what you're doing with a woman body. You're basically trying to dominate, take over that body that that person is taking care of. It's no different than, it's your property, it's yourself, it's your body. And people protect their body at whatever cost. But I don't know, man. Like I said, when I see these leaders that we put in power and their opinions, when people when the press are asked them, because the press live for the people. This is the reason why the founding fathers put them in place, to keep the people, to keep them in line, and that's why whenever you see a dictator take over a country, what the first thing they do is silence the press, right? And when you hear they ask, all these, senators like Manchin and Cruz and Mitch McConnell, and you got two Democrat, you have two Republican and one Democrat, and then you really realize that their answers are almost the same. And then when you look at the Supreme Court justice they put in place, and you realize they all voted for the same Supreme Court justices, and in the recent years, then you realize that they're agreeing on this. They should agree on other things also, not just on the fact that you know people are breaking the laws, and that no one is so much focused on this. According to them, no one is so much focused on the fact that women are losing their right to choose.
So
Nikki, you
when their
dropped off. Go ahead.
mistress, so when their mistresses get pregnant, I'm gonna need them to keep that same energy. Just make sure that she carries that child to full term too.
Well, if they live in one of those states, they will have to, right? Because that's the whole idea. The whole idea is to if you live in
No,
one of
they don't have. No, they don't have to, because a lot of things have transpired in the last few years that shows us that how does that saying go? What's good for the goose
it's
is
not
good
good
for
for
the
the
gander.
gender.
Not
It's
really.
not good for the gender.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. Okay. I got you. I got you. I see what you're saying. Well, let's see if they hold the same energy. Let's see if they put it together. I mean, Nika, let me ask you something real fast. Hold on to you. Let me ask you, as they're chipping away at this, do you think the whole marriage equality will be next? Do you think contraceptive will be next? Would healthcare be next? Or will this board versus, Brown of education be next? I mean, what's next? Because there's a lot of things that could be next. What are your thoughts?
Definitely contraceptives. That's
Then
a
healthcare? Then healthcare?
Yeah, they go. I feel like they go hand in hand. Yeah, but if I had to choose one or the other, yeah, definitely contraceptives. I feel like that'll be something that will probably diminish because they want us to procreate so bad for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe
Are we
they're
down
trying
as
to-
population? Is our population down? I don't think
So
so.
so
I mean,
that's
I don't
that's
know,
a good
but
question.
for some reason they want it increased. I don't know.
But I don't get it because our population is still pretty good. We're 350 million strong in this country. We're not even the biggest country, right? Canada is bigger than us and only have what, about 45 million people? They don't have that many, and they're bigger than us. So I don't get it. You look at Russia. Russia has 135 million people, and they're like twice the size of this country. So I don't get it. Why is it that they want us to procreate that much? Or they're planning to start a war or something that we're not
So
realizing, and we need a lot of bodies out there?
so is it that the numbers aren't really what it's presented to be then, if that is the case?
Nika?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't like to. I do like think about all scenarios, but I don't like to, conspiracy theories and things like that. But I don't know. I do believe, yeah. I feel like with the whole, that's a whole nother topic. I don't even want to go there, honestly. With the whole coronavirus and all that. Yeah, I don't even want to go there on this. That's something we can talk about separately. But yeah, I don't know that. But like T was saying too, I feel like it's also a distraction from something.
Hmm. So we ultimately agree and come back to that point that this is actually a distraction from something. There's something that we're not seeing. There's something that's ahead that's coming, maybe something big. It always has to be something big. It's either go big or go home, right? So it's never nothing small. So that's what I'm saying. It must be. It must be because what else could it possibly be?
Yeah, but yeah, if I did, like I said, if I did have to choose, though, it would be the contraceptives on that. Yeah, we'll probably see a it'll probably be harder to get. We'll probably have to have some type of, I don't know, insurance, or maybe it'll cost more with inflation. Who knows? And
Everything
also,
everything costs more right now, Nika.
Yeah, and on top of that, they're going so hard at Planned Parenthood where it's, easy for women and men can go there too, to get, contraceptives and condoms and things like that. They're making it so hard for them. They're, limiting their funding. So I just really don't know what the motive is. Like, I wish I knew. I'll drive myself crazy trying to think about it.
Try to think about it. Hey, Lisa Lyon, good evening. How are you? Hey, tonight we're talking about what's going on in the Supreme Court, man. How Justice Alito is he's one of the conservative justice on board, and he's talking about getting rid of Roe versus Wade, or Roe and Casey. That's Casey versus the board. What is it? The Brown. What was it? The Casey? What was the one again? Casey? I said that earlier. I missed that. But yeah, she wanted to get he wants to get rid of it. So him and all the other conservative justice, they want to get rid of the Roe versus Wade, as far as women's right, to choose, as far as pro-choice is concerned. So that's what we're talking about this evening. Go ahead, guys. She was just asking me what we're talking about, so I wanted to get an idea exactly what it is. Break it down, because I'm pretty sure every Planned Parenthood, that's what it is. It's Planned Parenthood. The other one was Planned Parenthood.
So
Um,
with because if we talk about contraceptives now, especially when it comes to birth control,
mhm,
we go to the pharmaceutical drug company and the amount of lobbyists we know they have.
mhm.
I wonder how that part plays out.
Well, yeah, they're going to find a way to make up the money on the other side. It always will. So if they're going to lose in contraceptive, right? Because they're going to, they have to find a way how they're looking at the numbers already and saying, hey, we're going to make up, we're going to lose on contraceptive, but we're going to make up on something else. But there has to be a plan in there somehow, because like I said, the pharmaceutical company, they already type this number in. They already penciled this, as part of their budget of how much money they make per year, just on selling contraceptive. So I'm pretty
Sure,
sure they're
sure,
there.
sure, because I mean, even contraceptive is used for not just that sole purpose as well. People take it for, other hormonal issues, as well as a lot of medications that are, or drugs that are marketed, are usually has how multi-purpose.
Sure.
So this
This is going to be one of it's going to be a conversation that's going to keep rolling on. I'm pretty sure you look next week or the week after, we're going to be there. We'll be talking about it. I am pretty sure that I'm going to be writing in the comment box and saying, hey, look at exactly what is happening right now in the nation. Look at what's going on. I mean, don't you think we have enough things going on in the world? We need to focus on food, and we need to focus on just trying to get this inflation down, try to get it back down below the percentage. Everything is up. It seems to me like 33% or something like that, 33 and a third. Everything that you buy, you look at the price, just do some math real fast, and you're saying, wow, everything is over like 30%. And the pay wages are not over 30%. T, hold on for me 1 second, please. I'm going to add Lisa Line. Lisa, good evening. How are you? Lisa. Hey, Lisa. Lisa is.
Hey,
Go ahead.
I'm
You
gonna
said
jump off. I'm gonna run it.
no
But
problem.
it's yes. All right. So you
Thank you.
take it. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night, girl. Bye bye.
Thank you very much for checking in. All right, we'll talk soon. I see Nika jumped off, so no problem. We'll continue on. Lisa Lines probably will try to jump back
Absolutely.
in. All right, cool.
All
We'll talk soon.
all right. Have a good night.
Bye, bye. Lisa, good evening. How are you?
Let's do this. ¿Cómo está?
We're good, Lisa. Well, I can't see you, but I can hear you. What's up, Lisa?
Good. Oh, you can't see me?
I can't see you, but I can hear you. Maybe you're in the dark or something. You might have to turn on some light or something.
I'm in a blind spot right now.
Oh man, no, you're good. You're good. Do you think?
I'm actually overseas right now, Jason.
Oh, really? It seems like you're always overseas, but no problem, Lisa. Voice your opinion. Let me know. I know what you look like already. That's okay. Just you see me sitting here. Just let me know. What are your thoughts on this? I mean,
Well, I see a little light. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, yeah, I want to hear what's going on. I'm always in for you. And I thought you were talking about the abortion that my brother was
Yes,
talking
you're
about
right, Lisa.
yesterday. Are you
Yeah,
talking
you're
about the
right.
abortion thing?
Yes, Lisa, you're right. That's what we're talking about. What does this post, like a post world with no Roe versus Wade? What kind of world would we have going forward? What are your thoughts on
Let
it?
me tell you something, Jason. That's I heard that from my brother yesterday. He's in a military base right now. He's a sniper out there in the army. I told you about that. And he was telling me about, did you hear what happened about the abortion thing, that no one can get abortions and women, their rights are taken away from them? And I'm like, are you fucking, excuse me, I'm sorry, are you freaking serious? This is a serious situation, especially when women get raped. um what are you to do when you get raped? Some women have their rights to get rid of their babies because they don't want a monster inside of them. That's what they say, because they got raped by a man that they don't know. And that's the first thing that went through my mind. And we were talking about it last night, me and my family, my dad. And that's terrible, because my niece actually had a situation. She's pregnant right now. And I'm glad that you're speaking about this. You're always speaking about the right topics. She's 2 months
Thank you,
pregnant.
Lisa.
You're welcome. We're trying to get her. There's ways, I don't know. Puerto Ricans and Colombians and Mexicans and other cultures like that got ways of getting rid of the baby with manta,
Yeah,
caliente montaña, manta.
Montana. Uh-huh.
Yeah, a manta. If you drink the manta hot, I mean, really hot, the baby will come out. And it has happened. I have seen it over my
Wow.
years of people getting abortions, or little girls get the hangers, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
because they don't want to tell their parents. And I'm sorry, people, I'm talking gruesome, but this is a real world out here, and that's what's going on. But for you not to have your rights of not getting an abortion because you don't want to, I think that is terrible. What is going on in this world, that you have your rights as a woman, as a man, as serving your country or whatever, and now you don't have your rights because you have nitwits out here controlling the world and trying to tell you what the hell to do. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I get it. I totally get it. I mean, I don't know what is the deal behind them though. Why now? Why did they decide that this is a topic they want to bring up now? We're in the middle of a pandemic. The pandemic is not over yet, and at the same time, we have so many other things that's going on. We have all these world life crises. We have an inflation that's through the roof. Why are we not worrying about spending our time and money and resources on other things that could make us better as people or as citizens? Why are we talking about? Why is it that we're jumping on here and telling people, oh, guess what? We want to control woman body because we haven't controlled it in 50 years, and now we want to control it again.
Right. Well, you know what? I'm sorry to say this. I saw something on Tasha the other day, because I do watch you guys when I can, and sometimes it cuts off. Xfinity. I have Xfinity now. I was with T-Mobile. T-Mobile was all right, but I went to Xfinity. Is even better with the 5G new phones out there that have the technology overseas. But and some things it happens, it's the satellites or whatever they're trying to bring out there. I've seen the satellites go up. I told you that on Face to Face. They're trying
Yes.
to afford a lot of satellites out there, millions of satellites out there, so they can control the world of watching, or the Easy Pass or the Sun Pass.
Sure.
As you're driving and paying for the stuff, they follow you. They know where you're at. They know your
Oh, no doubt.
destinations.
No
you
doubt.
know a lot of people don't like that, because they don't want to be watched. They don't want to know what they're going or what they're doing. People are the especially is the government watching you, and people don't understand that. Like Alexa's one of them. I'm scared of Alexa. I have Alexa all over my house, but I'm scared with the kids come over, or the kids are here, and I turn off the Alexa or turn off her camera, because there's a lot of people that can go into Alexa, start watching you, and start talking to the kids. I mean, hello, I'm a little girl, like the girl that sucks the lollipops and only
Sure.
shows her mouth. I don't know if
Yeah.
you heard of that one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on? Alexa, I'm sometimes talking to my sister in the other any other room, and Alexa picks me up, and she knows what I'm saying. And you have to say Alexa, but I turn her to say something else, and she speaks and say, "Hey, I'm listening to you. Can I help you with that?" I'm like, "Ooh, what? What is
Yeah.
that? Wait
But
a minute. Let
hey,
me go turn her
l-
off." I unplug her. That's the only way to know that Alexa's not watching your house when you're sleeping, watching your little children. This is a serious matter that people don't understand. It's the technology they want you to get into, like the COVID. I don't have the COVID. Believe it or not, because I have a pass. I got through a pass through being what I told you, and you have to have a COVID when you go to different countries. But I got my pass way long time ago before things start happening. I do travel because I'm not going to say why I travel, but it's nobody's business, but I do enjoy myself. But it's things out here in this world that if you see what I see, it's like, wow, it's amazing of things that you think it's real and it's not real. If you know what I'm saying. Don't
Yeah.
comprende?
No,
You understand?
I totally understand, Lisa. I mean, I get it. I even get the whole, Katana, Siri, Alexa, or even Google, let's say, whatever, hey Google, whatever it is, that's why my mom said I don't talk to those things because they're always listening. Hey Mickey, if you want to call in, man, just hit the link and you can call in and chime in if you want to voice your opinion. There's no hard feeling here. You can call in. Everyone is welcome to call in and be a part of it. Yeah, go ahead, Lisa. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. I want to just respond to
No, it's
Mickey.
fine. Other people can come in and chat because I feel, to me, that with the abortion, back to going to the abortion, and I'm trying to show people in your channel things that they should be aware of. It doesn't matter what age you are. You can be 50, you can be 30, you can be 20, and still you
Hmm.
don't know. And you know from other people what they've seen. If you
Hmm.
see the things that I've seen, you will understand it's unbelievable of the government getting involved. And it's something more bigger than this. Understand, they're trying to take over the whole world of different things. Look what's happened with Ukraine. He's giving out billions and billions. And it pisses me off, Jason. You know why?
No.
I'm not being disrespectful what I'm saying because I'm mixed, but most of the black people voted for Biden, okay? And they're
Hmm.
out there like, oh my, and I have spoken to many of my black friends being best friends, just being black. Mixed is what you want to be. You don't choose your color, you are what you are, but um they chose this Sleepy Joe, and what is he doing? He said he was gonna do this, and the schooling, and all this stuff that he was gonna do, lies after lies, just to vote for him. Oh, if you're not black, the thing that he said, the logo, like Tasha was talking about the other day, if you're not
Hmm.
black, don't if you're not black if you don't vote for me.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? And then the black people voted for him. And I
Okay.
did not vote for him because I did not want to vote, because I did not want to because I knew they cheated in the votes because of the things that I heard and seen, and people that were
Mm.
counting the votes. And they told me
Okay.
the things that they see with the briefcases, them cheating, and they're covering it up. And people are not waking up. This guy is about to take the world. He's going to die one of these days. She's going to get involved. What does she do? Laugh, 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 laugh. That's all she
Well,
does. Giggle, giggle. Her drugs are still in her system. All she wants to do. What is she going to do? Nothing, like she's doing now. What is she doing? Tell me. Somebody,
uh,
somebody come in the
hey,
chat and tell me what she's
Lisa,
doing.
I have no idea. We have to let the politicians be the politicians. That's what they were hired to do. Nika, hold on, Lisa, 1 second. What are you saying, Nika? She jumped back in. Let me see. Let me hear what she has to say. Probably gonna say something about this Mickey guy in the chat. What's up,
Okay.
Nika?
I think she's muted. I see her muted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's muted.
I'm
Go
just
ahead.
trying to do two things at once.
No worries,
Like
Nika. Tell
me,
me.
like me.
Yeah, Lisa. So I was one of the ones that voted for Biden, and I completely agree with everything you just said. Like, it just made me not want to vote no more. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But Nika, you can't lose faith in the political system, right? Because when we choose these leaders, sometimes we have sometimes the choices are not good. Sometimes we have two bad choices, and we just have to go with one of the bad choices because we do have to have a leader. So don't feel bad about voting. Don't feel bad. Don't give up on the democracy because the founding fathers did not give up on us, the future generation. You know what I'm saying? It's just that's why these 4 years we always just try to live it out. So I get it that you guys lose faith because of how things are going right now in the nation. But I don't want you guys to lose faith on the democracy or the republic or whatever it is that you call it these days.
Jason, you said the words right. You nailed the coffin with a bigger nail. And Nika, don't lose faith because it's not your fault. Because even if you didn't vote for him, they cheated. Remember that. It was not even when whatever you guys voted, or whoever voted, whatever happened, they still was going to cheat. So don't feel bad about what happened because we can't control that, right? So it's not your fault. They're just trying to take over, and that's what they did. And they did a wrong thing. And I feel that most disgusting is telling the black people that they're going to help them, and in so many ways, because out there, they don't help. I have seen it with interviews. I have seen it with myself being interviewed. And I'm like, wait a minute, why did that white boy or that white girl got that when I just did 100 of my tests? I know that. I studied my ass off. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I heard it. One time I was getting interviewed and I came out the room. A white girl went in, ditzy, bitsy, no disrespect towards white people, what I'm saying. She went in the room. I heard the conversation through the door like I'm stupid. And she's like, I don't want that black thing, the black girl outside. And I'm like, first of all, why are you, you know what? I have to keep my mouth shut. This is with the IRS. And they actually hired her. She had no background,
No,
no
no
nothing. Because me
background,
and her
prior
talked.
experience.
We actually talked, right? We talked outside the room before we went in, and she had no experience. I had 10 years experience, and being
Lisa, but
bilingual at that. I speak 5 languages,
yeah.
Jason. They did not hire me.
Hey, Lisa, I can tell you, that there's some things that we can't change. I get it.
I know.
There's gonna be a lot of unfair things that happen. We have to do the best with what we have as a system in general, because at least this is not North Korea, it's not Cuba, it's not Russia. It could be a lot worse. So we have to be thankful for at least the system that we have. Like I said, every 4 years we get the chance to jump in and choose these leaders to make these decisions, and that's the reason why we're at this position right now that we're at with the Supreme Court thing, where they're deciding that Roe v. Wade need to go, where women can't choose anymore, as far as their choices are concerned. And I think it's going to pass, Lisa. What are your thoughts? Let's
I
go back
think
to that. What
so.
are your thoughts? I
I
think it's going to
I
pass.
think
I think
I
they'll throw
think
it
they're
out
gonna. They've been
there.
talking about this for years,
Yeah.
about the women's rights or whatever. I think it's disgusting. I think if they have to say, even if the people say they had a daughter and got raped. What are
Hmm.
you going to think about that? There's consequences. That it's like a train effect. You think it's going to affect a lot of people, millions and millions of people. But how about your family, you stupid asses? You're not thinking about the consequences if your daughter got raped. And then what you're going to do? Oh, yeah, they're going to get an abortion because they're going to allow them because they're such up there. They will give it to them. I know that secretly without nobody knowing the truth. But it's a
Now,
shame that we don't have no rights, especially like I said, if you got raped or the guy busted his condom. It has happened. There's a guy that
yeah.
busted a condom on me, and
l- l-
thank God I was
Hold on.
getting protection. He didn't know that, but because I actually protected myself another way, I didn't tell him, and he busted his condom, and I found it in the trash can. It was busted. You could see it was busted. It was a big, it was a hole in it. So he was trying to get me pregnant. So weeks went by and weeks went by. He's, "Are you feeling okay?" He started asking me questions, and that's when I was like, "Wait a minute."
Oh,
I
okay.
knew what he did because he's asking me, "Are you okay?" He's touching my stomach, doing things that I'm pregnant. I'm not pregnant. I'm not
Ah,
saying anything that I found out. So
okay.
there's things out there that happens if you don't want to have a baby and
Hmm.
someone gives it to you. Guess what? The guy's going to walk away like they do in the Philippines. They walk away from every single girl. There's girls out there with 6, 7 babies. I have spoke to the Philippine girls, and it's sad because my brother's married to a Filipina, and I have a Filipina family. Knowing what they do to them, and these girls out there is a shame. And then boyfriends walk away. They don't want no dealings with babies crying or all this bull crap. The mothers take care of the babies. Don't get me wrong. There's fathers out there that do, stand 6 feet tall and they take care of their children, but that's not the case here. This is talking about a lot of women that they do take care of their children more than the men. I mean,
Hmm.
there's like probably, honestly, like 75% or 80% at that. Look at
Got
the
you.
total.
Got you.
You know what I mean, Jason?
Hey, no, I totally understand. I see what you're saying, Lisa. I get your point. Hey, Lisa, here JJ is saying, what if Congress flip to the right in November? Well, tell you what, JJ, be honest with you. If they flip to the right in November, which is what we think is going to happen, but then again,
Hmm.
maybe not. After this whole Supreme Court thing that's going on right now with the fight back and forth, people might think differently how they want to vote. But if they flip to the right in November, we're going to be at a standstill for the next 2 years until the next presidential election. It's always
Absolutely.
historically that way.
Yep.
Mickey, if you want to call in, I put the link in the chat. You could click on it. You're asking me about the number. There is a link in the chat. You can click on it and call in if you want to call in, Mickey. But yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. Nika, what do you think? Like I said, don't give up. Just still go out
Mm-mm.
and vote, man. At some point, you'll get, every term you're going to get someone that you like, someone that you don't like, but it's just the way the democracy works. Freedom is not free. We all have to work on it. We all have to keep working at it, so we can get better at it. But it's not free. It's just, it requires hard work. And over the 246, 47 years that we've been at it, it's been nothing but hard work, according to our history books.
I don't mean no disrespect, Jason, but like Trump says some things. Yeah, he lied. A lot of people think he's prejudiced. Yeah, look what he did to Puerto Rico, for example, with the paper towels, and
Yeah,
then he
I
explained what
hated
he.
that. I hated that.
Okay, all right, that's an example. And
Sure.
but he did so he was like a he was one because my father's older generation army, and he's still alive. Bless my father's soul. And I mean, towards everything what he went through and what he's telling me, and I learned a lot of things from my dad. And my
Hmm.
dad told me, one of the best presidents was what was his name? Nancy's husband. Oh my God, how can I forget?
Reagan.
Um, Reagan, not Ronald
Okay.
Reagan. Ronald
Okay.
Reagan was one of the best presidents because he didn't take no crap. He was like, boom, boom, boom. You mess with me, you're gonna mess with me. We're gonna blow you down, and that's how it
Sure.
was. Trump was the same way,
Okay.
protecting us towards talking to every country, trying to calm
Hmm.
things down. Blah blah blah. A lot of people like he don't owe taxes. Let me tell you something. If he didn't owe taxes, just like every other person, they will lock him up. The IRS do not play. They don't care what race you are. They will lock you up. Okay,
Hmm.
so a lot of people were like, it's the trolls making the trolls and the other people understand or believe that these things are true. But if you
Okay.
read, if you understand and listen to some people in a podcast that are smart like you, Jason, you tell the truth, you get the accurate information. If you don't know, you don't know. It's like an iffy,
Of course.
half and half,
Of course.
allegedly, but people read, and I know you read a lot, and I can tell you treat your children to understand, not being out here trolling and saying a lie. But Trump was a badass, and I wish him back. And a lot of people don't like me because of that. I'm like, oh well, Trump did what he did. He proved his lesson, what he
Gotcha.
did for us. But what did Biden do? He said he's going to do this. He promised, 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 promised. He did not do a thing. He's given billions of money to this Ukraine for what? Take care of the United States first. Look at these people that are dying, or even in the streets of right there in North Philadelphia right now in Philly. If anybody in Philly knows Kensington Avenue, I went
Hmm.
out there and interviewed some of the people that were on drugs and laying in the streets, and asked them why they're laying in the streets and what happened to their life or why they're out here. Guess what? Biden passed this thing with needles. Oh, and now it's even worse, Jason, because you're
Okay.
giving out free needles. Even though
Mm.
they're clean, you still on drugs. Those drugs will affect you in so many ways, and and
Hold on.
blow up your
Hold,
liver,
hold
whatever,
on, Lisa. Lisa, hold on. This Mickey person is keep saying that they can't see the number. Are they trolling me, Nika? Nika, tell me, are they trolling me? I told you, Mickey, I told you to click on the link. There's a link. There's no phone number. There's just a link that you click on if you want to call in and voice your opinion, be a part of the chat.
If
Nika, where
there's
you
a
at?
troll, that's
Okay.
okay. They like you. Jason, they like you. If they're a troll, they're like you. Let them listen to the
No,
real
it's
stuff,
fine.
not no fake shit.
No, it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. It's just they keep asking me for a number, and I'm saying there's no number. There's a link. You click on the link if you want to call in and be a part of the conversation, just like what you're doing, Lisa, and what Nika
Yeah,
is doing.
I did that before because I didn't
Well,
know,
he's
but your
saying he's not
son
a
told
troll.
me.
Mickey, that's why I'm saying, Mickey, there's a link in the chat. All you got to do is click on it, and it will bring you into this chat, and then I will
Go up on
answer.
the chat. Go up on the chat like I did,
Huh?
and I found the
Yeah,
stream
go up
link.
on the chat, or
Okay.
I
Get
just
out of
place it in
stream.
the. I
So
just
get out
place
of
it in the
stream
chat
yard.
again, Mickey. Mickey, I just place it in the chat again. You'll see it says a link, the HTTP link. Just click on it, and it'll bring you into the chat, and then you can voice your opinion. There's no need for us to be going back and forth. If you want to say something, you want to say something, no problem. You're saying you're not a troll. We're not saying you're a troll. We're just saying that if you want to click and
You're
be a part of the
trolling. If
conversation.
you're trolling, he said.
Yeah, we're not saying you're a troll. We're just saying maybe you're trolling. But I
Right.
got it. I got it. Hey, Lisa, back on this topic that we were talking about. What do you think of what is your position? Well, I get what your position is on the whole abortion thing, right? How will
Yeah,
this
I hope.
affect
I'm
us?
sorry, I don't mean to cut you up. Nika, I think was she got off.
Yeah.
Tell her not. I hope that she's listening, not to
Hold on,
feel like.
hold on, Lisa. Hold that part for me. Let me bring in this Alpha Mega.
Yo, Pixie, stop.
Talk to me,
What's
man.
up? Yo, what's up, bro?
Talk to me, man, because you're in the chat and we're saying click on the link if you want to
Yo,
voice your opinion.
I'm 48 years old. Like, I'm not a social media YouTube guy. Like, I'm just old school, bro. Like, I
I
can't
got you,
help
man.
it.
I got you.
Yo,
This stuff is new to a lot of people. I got it. Let me hear your opinion. Go ahead and drop it.
what opinion on what?
Well,
He's
on
not
the
even
whole
listening.
abortion thing and the pro-life or the
Okay,
pro-choice.
so the abortion thing. So, listen, I want everybody to know I'm a 1980s metalhead. Like, I'm a white guy. I'm a metalhead. I live in Connecticut, but like I live near Bridgeport, New Haven, New York City. I have a lot of black friends, and like in the 90s I was pro-choice. Like, I was totally pro-choice. But since I I had my first daughter in 1994, and
Congratulations.
I raised three daughters, and
Congratulations.
one of them committed suicide last
Oh
year
man, I'm sorry to
Oh
hear that,
because
wow.
of
man.
because of COVID lockdowns and social media. No shit, that's
Wow.
the truth. Because I had two daughters. My first daughter was born in 1994. My second daughter was born in 1996, and my third daughter, Nikki, was born in 2003. So my first two daughters didn't really have the social media and the internet presence because that wasn't around back then. But Nikki lived through the whole social media thing. And listen, like, my daughter came to me one day and she's like, "Dad, I'm gay. I like girls." And I'm like, "You're not gay." I'm like, "You," and then I found out later that, like, she was like totally manipulated on TikTok and all that stuff. My daughter wasn't gay. She actually met a boy. She had a boyfriend, and she actually killed herself because she was so attached to this boy, and all the shit on social, whatever. But that's the other. But listen, what I'm trying to say is this: like, like, like God. So okay, my daughter Nikki was an old soul, right?
Of
And when
course.
she was like 5 years old, 8 years old, she said to me, "Dad," she's like, "I saw you through a window in heaven." She didn't say heaven, but she said through the sky. She said she saw me through like a glass bubble, and she picked me to come live here. So what I'm trying to say is that, okay, if you're raped, that fucking sucks so bad. It's evil. It's disgusting. It sucks. But
Yeah.
I am a Christian, and I believe in God, and Jesus has come to me. I believe in Jesus 100%, and
Mm-hmm.
Jesus has come to me, and the fact is I believe that God, like, if you have a child through rape, it sucks, but you know what? That child didn't rape you. That child is like just a part of, it's just part, it's God's, that child picked you for a reason. So
Hey, Alpha.
instead of
Let,
aborting that child,
mhm.
let it live, and maybe
Okay.
that child would change you and better you.
Hey,
Okay?
Alpha.
That
Why?
that's what I'm
Why?
saying about the whole rape thing.
Hey, what I'm saying, Alpha, right? I'm saying, why not give women a choice over their body, though? Why are we taking control
Okay,
over
what
them?
they still do. That's the other thing
Okay.
people don't understand. This
Hmm.
law, this if they reverse Roe versus Wade, that
Yeah.
doesn't mean you can't get an abortion. It just gives the state you live in the right. So if you live in like Kentucky and abortion is illegal, but New
Yeah.
York it's legal, you can literally get in a car, drive to New York and get an abortion. And this whole thing about money, listen, Amazon
Let,
just came
hold
out
on,
and
hold
said
on, hold on, hold on.
they'll pay their
Let me
employees
say,
4,000. What?
hold on. Let me say something real fast on that one, right? Because Kentucky is one of the states that has these Roe versus Wade abortion thing, right? I mean, they have these trigger strike in place right now that the minute the Supreme Court strikes it down, it's an immediate law that, few of the states like Kentucky being one of them, 15 of them will go automatically back into being where it's illegal immediately after a few weeks
Okay,
of,
but if you
of the fetus, right?
if you live in Kentucky,
Hold on, Alpha, 1 second. Here's the thing. If you drive to another state, you're still a resident of that state. You get back, you can go to prison for having abortion, even though you go across the state line.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
We're gonna leave it in the hands of the Supreme Court justice. The same.
They're not going to They're not going to arrest people. Do you really believe they're going to arrest people for getting an abortion? Please.
Listen.
They just legalized marijuana. You listen. How old are you? How old are you?
I'm around the same age as you, Alpha. I'm 80 child. I'm also in the 80s, like you.
Okay, but so back then,
sure,
like this stuff it's not going to happen. They're not going to arrest a person for getting an abortion, for crying out loud. That's ridiculous.
Well,
do you know how? Look at the way the media is these days. They would be all over that stuff.
Hey,
women will not get arrested for getting.
We can't trust the people that we put in power. We have to trust the laws.
No. I didn't put Biden in power. I didn't put the left in power.
No, we're not talking about Biden. I'm talking about these guys that are sitting on that are making the laws and the rules that we put in power. Each one of us has congressmen.
No, but it doesn't matter what we say. Right? If you think that the government actually is going to listen to us, they don't care. There's a bunch of rich people that own us. We're all slaves. You know what? You talk about black slavery. I'm a white slave, man. I work my balls off every day, and I work my ass off to have what I have. And you know what? They beat me up. I'm the Alpha Omega that got thrown off of your show an hour ago. But I'm going to tell you something. I got my ass kicked by the police. I got my ass kicked. No, they did. Something happened, and I got totally. No, I couldn't even make a comment anymore. But anyways, I'm past that. I had to clear my cage. And all that stuff and sign in under a different name. But I've had my ass kicked by the police so many times because of the way I look. Okay, look at me. I'm an ugly, big white guy, dude. They kicked my ass, man. Like so many times, bro. But you know what? Like, so that the whole race thing makes me sick because in the 90s, that shit was dead. Like, I'm a Tupac fan. I'm a Biggie fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the old school Run DMC, bro. Like, that shit was ended. White and black came together in the 90s. This is a new narrative. This is a new thing that they have come between us all, and they're pulling us all down, man. Because I love you, brother. I love you, man. And I love all black people, brown. I don't give a fuck what color you are. And I told you before, my mother's black. She was a prisoner in the Iowa State women's penitentiary. And my best friend is a black man from the West Indies. I don't know what fucking part of the West Indies he's from, but we both do auto body work together. We worked in Connecticut. He served in the military, and he's a fucking Republican too. My boy is a Republican, man. And I love that guy. I'll fucking take a bullet for that guy, dude.
Listen.
Okay? So this is a big
political affiliate.
This is a big white man. Look at
one way or another.
This is a big white man that will fucking die for you guys, man. I love you all. And I'm not a troll, and just believe it. There's people like me out there that love all you.
Why are you screaming, dude? Why are you
Because I'm a fucking mental case, and I'm pissed.
And you should get off the show if you're cursing and cursing.
Whatever. You're an asshole. No woman is going to tell me shit anyways, dude. You belong home raising.
Alpha. Hey. Hold on. Calm down. We can't hear you. Calm down.
Cut him off, Jason. He's being nasty, disrespectful.
Hey, Alpha. We have to be Alpha. Listen to what I'm saying. We have to be respectful to everyone on the show, right? we can't be cursing and yelling at, whether female, male, we have to keep it, we have to keep it 100%. Okay, go ahead, Lisa.
Ooh,
Yeah.
he was really nasty. You don't
Yeah,
have to
well,
you're being I understand he was saying what he's saying, but he's like, hi.
he's
I'm
he's
sorry. You
passionate.
don't come on your
He's
channel being
passionate about.
disrespectful.
I'm truly sorry that he lost his daughter, but I
Yeah,
do understand that social media has
I
its
lost
ups
my
and downs.
twins. Hello, but I'm not gonna act disrespectful. I lost
Very
my
true.
mother. I lost my
Mm,
sister last month. I lost my other sister 2 months ago. But it's for you to be respectful, not rah 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 on your channel. I'm white. I'm this. I'm white. That. What is your? What did your? I don't know. He was talking all over the place. He's being
yeah, yeah,
disrespectful. Effing, 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 effing. He's mad. That's his problem. Go to a corner and take a break or take time out. There's no reason for him to be disrespectful. Okay.
yeah. No, no, I
I don't
got
care
you.
how old
I
you
got you.
are. And he acts like a little child. He was acting like a little child to me. I thought he was like in his 19, be like, what's wrong with him? That's why I had to
Yeah,
come on the camera. I'm sorry. I had to come
no
on.
problem, no problem. And he said he's from the '80s. What can we do? What can we do? What can we do, Lisa? I mean, it's what it is. I mean, people want to voice their opinion. Like I said, I'm sorry he lost his daughter, but I know the social media, we have to get some control on it. But you have to put that in the hands of the parents also, because I have kids and I limit them as far as social media is concerned. I said, hey, every other day you can play and it's a certain amount of time. I'm not going to sit around and have them playing 100% of the time. You can't do it. You have to have a limit on everything you do.
Right.
So I mean, like I said, I'm sorry that he lost his daughter, but it's tough, man. It's tough in a day and age like today.
When you
Nothing is
lose
new about
someone,
this except social
he
media.
needs counseling. I'm sorry. I'm telling he needs counseling. You're not. It's your channel. You run it the way you want to. You're going to become big. But for him to come out the way he did, I have black
Mm-hmm.
friends and I have this and I have that. What are you proving, dude? Dude, what are you proving? You're being disrespectful. Very
Mm-hmm.
disrespectful, some of the things he was saying. He should have calmed
Exactly.
down. He had no morals, being, knowing it's your channel and saying "do" to you and this and that. What is that? You call him. That's why I say call him by Jason. You call somebody by your name, and like my father said, you catch more honey than bees, than being respectful and not being disrespectful.
This is
Whatever.
just the beginning, though, Lisa. So
And
we're here to challenge it.
Jason, let me tell you something. What you were saying, what I heard, and this is from the grapevine. When women say, if the state says no, you can't get an abortion, what's going to happen is the doctors need money, right? It's all about money. And if they do an abortion on the sideline quietly, and then someone tells on him, and they come in the FBI, let me tell you something. Everybody's going to get locked up. It doesn't matter who you
License will be gone.
license will be gone, the practice, everything. This
Yeah.
is Fed time, okay? Fed
Yeah.
time. Because if
No
they
doubt.
say this is a law, it's going to be a law. He's talking about marijuana was legal, and all states are not legal yet, dude. Now I'm saying, dude. Oh God. Everything is not legal in different states. Other states have better than others, but yeah, if you are in that state and says no, if you're not supposed to get an abortion, and they have a practice on the side and let
Yeah.
people in with no names in front of the building, nothing, just letting people in, doing their thing, paying $2,000 pop, $3,000 pop, and then Medicare gets involved, or I'm sure Medicare is not going to get involved, but
Mm-hmm.
other entities like other Blue Cross Blue Shield or somebody goes through, they're gonna look at the books and they're gonna, let me tell you something, everybody's gonna get in trouble. A lot of people are gonna get in trouble that pass that abortion for that person. And that woman can get locked up too if she's in that facility getting an abortion. It could
Mm-hmm.
happen. This is things that we know that can happen, and it can happen. We're not saying it's going to happen. You're not saying it's going to happen, but it can happen. That's the key word. You
Why?
said it can happen.
That's the reason why I was telling him that he's saying, do you believe that they'll come lock you up because you cross the state line and go have an abortion? You can't believe in, you have to see it in writing, right? And that's what he doesn't understand. You can't just believe what someone is saying. You have to see it in writing. If they said, hey, you cannot do it, you cannot do it. I mean, the rules are the rules, the laws are the laws.
Right, right. And you know what? Not even that. When you go across New York states and you live in Ohio State, for example, you're going to show a license. You're going to show some type of identification. They're going to know you're not from there and you're in more trouble because that's fraud across
Of
state
course,
lines.
of
Sorry,
course, of course,
people
of
are not
course.
thinking. People think this is a joke and this is
That's
getting
what
real
I,
weird.
I think that's what it is. That's the problem. Everybody think it's a joke. They think it's whatever it is. But like I said, there's these 13 states that they're about to trigger this law. So the minute the Supreme Court strike it down, it'll be automatically a law in those states immediately. They're just sitting there waiting because they had laws that predate, this whole Roe v. Wade thing. So it's just there right now. It's just they're waiting, and that's what I was trying to get him to understand, that the minute you do it across state line, you are breaking the law.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
He's
know what
not
I'm saying?
understanding. He was wrong. And then you muted him. He's like, Papa, and you can see the words coming out. Nasty words.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
cursing.
I had to,
Cursing.
because he's
He
he's
cursed at
coming
me too. That's
he's coming
okay.
to start attacking, and I'm like, I had to
Oh
shut
my
him. I had to mute
God.
him
He
off
was
because I mean,
attacking me.
like,
Then I told him to calm down, dude. What's your problem?
he
And he
you told
started
him to
blah, blah,
calm
blah.
down. He got upset. So I'm like, here we go,
Because
here
you
we
know
go.
why? He doesn't want a woman telling him a
What to do?
very, very respectable. I'm not worrying about it. You know, men like that come and go, that you can get the
Yes,
attitude you
ma'am.
want. But you know what? Karma's a bitch because you are not being respectful. That's it. You don't want a woman telling you what to do. Let me
But
shut
then
up.
he, but
Like,
then,
I'm gonna.
but then he end up, but then he end up getting 3 daughters. Amazing. Life is life is something.
I was
Hey,
going to
we can
say
thank
that.
those we can thank those guys, Lisa, right there
Oh
for what's
my God,
for
I
what's
was
going to
going to
happen.
say that. I was going. That's why when I just boop and you just follow my words. How can he have three daughters? And how did they get killed? What happened? Was you
Like only
watching your
one, only
daughters?
one, only one. He said commit suicide because of
Yeah,
it's
but
sad.
why did she commit suicide? You know, there's things you have to follow. You have to be on top of your kids,
Well,
especially if she was young. If that's what
well,
he's
yeah.
claiming
The,
to
the,
be.
the mind
But
is
if she,
young though, Lisa. When you have the young mind, you don't. It's kind of hard. It's not developed, and when it's not developed, there's so many different reasons why. I try not to touch on those things because there's such a sensitive issue for parents out there. So I
it
try not
is
to. I try to be very sensitive, especially when you're talking about a child, of anyone. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It is a touchy topic. My heart goes
yeah,
out to people that have lost children in general. That's not anything that you. Who was it that said? It was a friend of mine that says that their child or their children is supposed to come bury them and not the other way around. It is very
exactly.
heartbreaking when you have to bury a child. You know what I'm saying? And it's definitely one of the things I hate touching on, but it's what it is.
I
It's
lost
what it
all
is,
my
Lisa.
twins, Jason. I know, 8 years
So
old.
sorry,
I
Lisa.
lost
So
both
sorry.
of them, and let me tell you
How
something.
old
It's
were they, Lisa?
8 years old. They were, yeah,
Wow.
they were
So
8.
sorry to hear that.
I
So
have a
sorry to hear that.
mailbox with their symbolizing them. Every time the mailman, they know it's my twins, and I did a memory in front of my house. That's what I wanted, like a mailbox, a big mailbox.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could do
So
things like
sorry
that
to
in
hear
parks,
that.
the beautiful mailboxes, and that's what I did because of the memory
So
of
you
them.
actually could relate to this guy that was just called in. So you can easily relate to him
Yeah,
because you lost two, and so it's he lost one. So like I
but
said,
I'm not
life
being disrespectful towards you and or the people in the panel like
or
he
the
was.
people in the channel.
Like I
Yeah.
asked him, calm down. What are you on? What is going on? Why you coming in, Jason? And he's like, where's the chat? Where's the chat? Well, and then you said, what we talking about? I asked that because I just came in, but he kept
Yeah.
asking that over and over. You're not paying attention. And then you start jumping. And then if Jason says, if this can happen, you're like, no, dude, it's not going to happen. Whoa.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
And he's effing. Well, that's all dirty words coming out of my mouth. That's what you learn from your family. My father taught me very well. Sometimes I curse. I don't like to curse, but sometimes it comes out
Neither do I,
because I
Lisa.
get a little annoyed with people.
Neither do I. My mom, if she's watching right now, she'll beat my butt if
Hi,
she heard me
mom.
cursing. So definitely no cursing. All right, Lisa. Well, I'm gonna try to wrap it up for tonight, man. I appreciate every bit of this conversation. We need to pay attention to what's going on in our world, man. Elect our leaders well, and I don't really hope for the best because in reality, every time this thing change, we're hoping that things will get better. So hey, appreciate you being here this evening.
Always.
Enjoy your trip across the what's your point, guy? You're all
Oh, who
crazy.
said
Yeah.
that? I can't see the chat. I can't. I don't.
Yeah.
I ignore the chat.
I think
I ignore.
Catherine is saying that we all raise our children, and then she's saying now, what's your point, guys? So they're doing this this
What
thing in the chat.
what's whose point? What is she saying? She's always on
Well,
your. I
she's
see her.
one
She's always
because
on your
they're going
chat.
back and forth in the chat regarding what we were talking about a while ago. But like you were saying, he was
She's
being
fighting.
disrespectful.
Catherine,
So
don't. Catherine, don't even go there. Don't even fight with them. They're trolls. They're trolling. If they're fighting with the
uh,
chat now, why? I know Catherine's always on your. I see her a lot. I see her face come up a lot. So
yeah,
I know Catherine is very respectful. She don't. That's why I say point of what, guys. I know she's not disrespecting me or you. So
no, no, no.
she
She's in
won't
a
be in the
conversation.
channel.
She's in a conversation of her own inside the chat. So hey guys, tell you what, Lisa, yeah, like I said, I'm going to wrap it up. Please enjoy the rest of the trip. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for being here, being a part of the program. Hey guys, remember to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget. Follow me on IG, man. I got it on the left side of the screen. We can post some stuff over there, see what's going on in the world, and pray for us. Well, I need prayers. I'm telling you.
Thank you, Jason. You are the realest. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Your
Thank you.
channel should come up, 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 and I'm praying that your channel. People need to listen. They don't want to hear the truth,
It will
And
get
hi to
there, Lisa.
mom.
It will
Hi to
get
mom
there.
and bye to mom. Bye
One
to
one
Jason.
day at a time. One day at a time, and with the support, it will get there. One day at a time. Hey guys, remember, love those who love you and those who do not. All right. Please remember to have yourself a wonderful week, Lisa. So we'll talk soon.
Blessing everybody.
Blessing everybody, guidance, protection. Love you guys. Peace.
Adios. Bye.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Peace. Talk soon.